Welcome back to the Zeus Podcast. I'm your host, Zeus The Prophet, and not even the force of Mother Nature can stop it, but I can. This is episode 13, Grace, Growth, and Greatness, the Eema story. Tonight's conversation is about something deeper than success. It's about grace and how we move through life. Greatness that comes from not ego, but from becoming the best version of ourselves. Because real greatness rarely arrives loudly. It develops quietly through reflection, discipline, humility, and courage. And tonight's guest represents a journey that reflects those qualities. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Lord, guide this conversation tonight, please. Let our words be honest, thoughtful, and grounded in truth. May this discussion bring clarity, encouragement, and wisdom to everyone listening. Remove pride from this space and allow humility, understanding, and grace to lead our dialogue. Bless this conversation, Father, and all who hear it. Amen. Tonight, I'm joined by somebody whose presence reflects curiosity, character, and a thoughtful approach to life. Eema is somebody who carries herself with grace while navigating the process of personal growth, self-discovery, and the challenges that come with finding your place in the world. In a time where many people feel pressured to rush success, her journey reflects something more meaningful, the process of becoming. Eema, welcome to the Zeus Podcast. How are you?
Thank you. I am good as it can be.
Well, it's wonderful. It's an honor to have you here tonight. So let's begin at the very beginning. Where did you grow up and what kind of environment shaped your early years?
Well, I am from Brunei. Have you heard of Brunei?
I have.
Yes. So my childhood is in Brunei, and I moved to Australia when I was about 13. Growing up in Brunei, Brunei is a Muslim country, so it's very conservative, I would say. But my family is a fun bunch, very loud, very out there. So that's
Yes.
where we loved music. So we do a lot of karaoke, and that's how I, been exposed to music in that early time. Yeah. But growing
Wonderful.
up, in Brunei was a bit tough because I grew up with a single mom, and being divorced in Brunei back in the days, that wasn't as acceptable. And so I
Absolutely.
did grow up with that people opinions and things like that around
I
that
understand.
issue.
I
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from. I grew up with a single mom as well. I had two older brothers, and my father, passed away a very long time ago in '82.
So yeah.
So no, thank you. I appreciate that. But that's why I feel where you're coming from. So it's never easy growing up, with a one-parent household.
No, it wasn't, because Brunei is such a conservative, country as well. Like back then, we there's no such thing as like talking about your mental health, or just basically asking like how are you wasn't a thing back then. People just do their thing and move on. That was the type of life I grew up with, really.
Absolutely. So when you think back to your childhood, Eema, what kind of person were you?
I was, to be honest, a bit of both. I was a bit quiet, but at the same time, when I needed to be loud, I was, loud. I was very, I get along with, everyone being, at school. And, gosh, I feel so old. I was trying to remember those moments when I was young. And, but growing up with my cousins and stuff like that, I just remember being always outside and playing, and not being on a screen like we are now. So I do miss those moments and just being carefree
Of
and
course.
just enjoying your childhood. Like it was just
Absolutely.
beautiful, and being able to be around with so many families as well. Which is now I only have my mum and my brother here, and everyone else still in Brunei.
So your younger brother, older brother?
Younger brother.
Younger brother. So you're the big sis.
Yes, I'm the big sis.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Kind of like my wife as well. She has two younger brothers, and yeah, I've had many conversations with her over the years about that and what it takes and what kind of pressures the family puts on the oldest child, and
Yeah, 100%.
it's very
Because
difficult. Mm.
For a big sister like me, because growing up with that, obviously, we are different dads. Like my mom was divorced twice. Growing up, I was always worried about my brother. What we don't have a father figure or a male, role
Mm.
model. So I
Mm.
was always growing up worrying about him. How is he going to turn out? Is he hanging out with good people, good kids, and things like that? So that's
Right.
like natural.
So most of the time you end up being the third parent.
Yes, yes. We had to, I'd say, grow up really quickly because moving at the age of 13 and to, Australia, me and my brother had to really look out for each other as mum was really busy just trying to build life for us here.
So were you somebody who always asked deeper questions about life, or did that curiosity develop later?
I have always been, that way. Always into deep, meaningful conversation. Never really like um the surface like level. I kind of feel sometimes out of place when I'm, growing up, when you're just like
Mm.
hanging out with your friends and things like when you were like teenagers, I kind of just like sit back and just listen and observe because I
Mm.
don't know, sometimes I felt like I was being too much or too like no
Right.
filter or
Right.
really upfront and direct. So I kind of always sort of sit back a little bit, but now
Mhm.
I'm more comfortable in terms of just letting it out and just say what I feel. So it really does come with experience, I think. Yeah,
Absolutely. You live and you learn type thing. So
correct.
what kind of energy was present in your household growing up?
Type of energy, look, a bit of mix because growing up, with my mom, like she's beautiful, always so supportive. She's such a positive person. So that's where I get it from. It's like no matter how hard things were back then, sometimes
Mhm.
like mum would struggle, to basically like feed us sometimes. And she would still be like, don't worry, it's all good. We'll figure it out. She's always
Yeah,
got this mentality where money comes and goes. It's not a permanent thing where it's like we don't have money.
absolutely. I
Yes.
understand that.
So I
It was
really
the same
appreciate
thing.
that thing.
It was the same thing in our household as well. Like we never had much growing up, even though
Yeah.
we were pretty well off before my father passed away. But my mom said, just like, no, I don't want any of it. I just want the kids, and I want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And she did that, and so we ended up being thrust into a different, you know, lane in this world. And so we grew up
Yeah.
pretty poor, never having. But my mom always made sure that we had food on the table. We had clothes on our backs. We never wanted for anything.
Yeah,
So
that's it. Like one of
that's
my like
one of the
memory.
things.
Yeah, one of my memories always like when we, obviously didn't have money and things like that. She's like, "Don't worry, I can make pasta with a tuna can." I'm like, "Okay, cool, mom." And it still tastes like pasta.
Yeah, she made it work, of
So
course.
yeah, things that I really appreciate. Just working with what you've got and making the most out of things
Mm.
has always been my mentality. Yeah. So
So do you remember a moment when you began to feel or see the world differently from others around you?
yes, because, growing up with a single mum. So what happened was my mum left in Brunei when we were at that age about, I was probably about 10. So she actually, met a partner here in Australia. And
Hmm.
so she was building, setting up for us to come over there. So being
Mm.
feeling a bit isolated and lonely, I would say not having a parent. I just kind of grew up with my grandparents. I lived with my grandparents and was
Wow.
always basically with myself and with my own thoughts. So that's when I
Mm.
started questioning everything. And
Right.
it was hard, but that really, you know, basically opened up my mind. I'm like, okay, like maybe I am, like a bit different and there's something else that I can't, really at that time, like I can't really, I don't know what's the word. There's it's like a calling, but I just didn't know what it was at the time. So I felt like something was always a bit different.
I felt that exact same feeling growing up too. I couldn't pinpoint it. I couldn't put my finger on it. I don't know what it was, but I knew I was different from the different people.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. What have been some of the biggest lessons in life that's taught you so far?
That's a tough question because there's so many,
Right.
right?
Maybe just a couple of things for any of the younger audiences listening that might take value from this?
I think one is I feel really strongly about this is you try just not to expect from people because they don't owe you nothing. So I feel like when you expect something from people, that's when you feel like disappointed or you feel like you're not good enough because they're not expecting, your expectation kind of thing. So just let people be what they are and, try not to fix someone or change someone. Just really focus on yourself and if you're in the right, time of your life or you're, in the right energy and you just attract the right people and the right things that you don't even know that you need. I feel like, yeah, that's one of my biggest lesson because, growing up and yes, there's lots of people around me and things like that. But then I thought, okay, what each of these person can, bring for me or help me and things like that. And at the end of the day, I'm like, it's just like, why did I think this person or that will work
Right.
out? So yeah, I
So
feel
that's pretty profound, and that ties into like not seeking external validation, not wanting anybody to to validate who you are. You know who you are, where you've come from, and where you're going, type of thing.
yeah.
So stay on your path.
I feel like when you have all this expectation, you kind of turn into like a people pleasing person, you know, and you trying so hard and sometimes you just don't get nowhere. Putting a lot of pressure.
You're putting too much unnecessary pressure on yourself when you become a
Yeah.
people pleaser,
Yeah.
and in the end, most people don't even know about themselves to let alone to judge you.
Correct.
They're still trying to figure themselves out and their own stuff,
100%.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think just like focus on yourself and your own like things and your energy. I think to me that's the definitely biggest lesson now being, yeah, especially being a mum as well.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you. So was there a moment that really challenged your perspective and forced you to grow?
Yes. Being a mother, which a lot of mothers can relate because growing up sort of so fast and then once I had my son, it kind of made me stop and, embrace life a bit more and just embrace the simplicity of things because I was always just on autopilot for the longest time. Growing up, always pressuring myself to be better and I knew I was sort of a bit different, but kind of to fit in as well. There's that pressure as well. But then once I become a mother, I was like, I don't care about anything else. Like all I care is about this little human. And yeah, at the same time, it was hard for me because not having, growing up with the father and mother, I was like, where do I start? So it forced me to really slow down. It's funny because, I was always on survival mode before becoming a parent. But then as soon as my son came, it really shifted something in me to be a little bit more softer, to be a little bit more nurturing. Because before that, I was like, go, go, go. Like, I'm an
Yeah.
independent woman. I can do all these things. But then when he came, I was like, that didn't matter. He's just, basically wanting like unconditional love. And yeah, that really has, yeah, it definitely changed me.
So what is something that you've learned about yourself recently that surprised you?
I learned that, gosh, I learned so many things that really surprised me. I only just started performing again. So being, in front of people and singing in front of people. I really used to hate talking in front of people. And I think,
Right.
from the performance at, the charity event that Zarina put together, beautiful event. I really didn't plan to speak or anything. I was kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to get up and sing. But then naturally, I was actually opening up. So yeah, that's something I really learned from myself that I can be good at this. So yeah, I would like to nurture that.
It's funny that public speaking is pretty much one of the biggest fears that most people on this planet have.
Yeah, even coming
speaking
on
in.
to do this with you, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna shit my pants. I don't know. It's funny because once I started speaking, it actually calms my nerve a bit more. So that is really something new. Yeah. And I really want to explore that more, public speaking and just letting go.
I think, like even motivational speaking would suit you to a T.
Oh, thank you.
You know?
I got to start practicing more.
Hey, well, we're giving it a shot with the Zeus podcast, so you never know who might be watching this
thank
episode.
you. Yeah.
I've had a few people from global markets reach out to some of my guests.
No, that's awesome.
You know what I mean? So you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
But I believe in you, sis. I think you'll be absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So what values guide the way you make decisions?
Values. I think honesty, definitely honesty and that gut instinct. Like everybody has it. You have to really listen to that. If something you don't feel good about, and this is just learning, previous, relationships as well, including like the red flags. And I'm now just really trusting my gut instinct and not really cut out the noise from people, their opinions, and they're saying like, look, it's good to get advice from people and things like that. But at the end of the day, you are the one that's going to, keep it moving to the next, thing.
That's pretty profound. So do you think young people today are searching for deeper meaning in life?
Look, I think there are. So I manage an optometrist, and my casual are quite young. They're in the 20s.
Okay.
And I'm just always surprised how, they're just more sort of aware. Like back when I was there at chance, like I didn't even know what the heck sometimes I was doing. But these is these kids, they're very aware, and they're very interested in, like, when I tell them like, oh, I'm a, singer-songwriter, and they're like, oh, what do you write about, and just really curious about things, which is great. Well, these are some of the young people anyway that I work at. I can't say for majority, but if we're talking about music wise, it's really great to see how some of these young audience are really listening to older music. Like, our music back then was really different.
Right.
Yeah, but then also you have handful of young people who follow trends and things. It'll just be like TikTok and reels and stuff like that, which is like only how many seconds of, music. And so you don't really get to listen to the lyrics.
Yeah, it's different generations, different people have different tastes, but, some of those ancient souls are gravitating back to where music was, more authentic and more grounded and more original, like back in the 80s and 90s when there was a lot of, with a lot of variety in music.
I was once the young girl as well who would be like, oh yeah, I want to be like the hottest thing. What's the hottest thing right now? Like I want to be a superstar and things like that. Yep, I get it. But it really does come with experience. I think for young people, just basically exploring what's out there and what, they like and what they don't like. Just being open-minded is important, I think. That's how you get to basically broaden your knowledge in anything in life. Yeah.
Broaden your horizons.
Yeah. Don't be so set on things.
So what helps you stay grounded when life becomes overwhelming?
What helps me stay grounded? I just basically take it day by day, really, hour by hour. One step at the time, so I don't get too overwhelmed, because working full time, being a single mom, on top of that, like music, if I really just think about that, that can be quite like, oh my God, where do I start? Where do I go? But I just look at it as a separate thing and just work at it as best as I could to spend, time and focus and not overthinking things. Yeah. That's how I, even in my professional life as well, like I'm very like chill person as well. So I think I kind of, make everyone sort of be a bit more calm as well. So it creates such a like harmony, like environment.
That's why I included grace in the title of this episode, The word grace means different things to different peoples. What does grace mean to you personally?
It's funny. I have a Egyptian cat tattoo on my back.
Wow.
So what that represents to me as a woman is grace and poise. So it doesn't matter how you do things and like how life sort of takes you. It's just basically like you do it with grace and you always do it with poise, being kind. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think grace is something you're born with or something we develop through life?
It's like this nurture and, nature thing. I think I can be spiritual. I think I always had it in me, like
Yeah,
born within me, because if I didn't have grace, God, who knows where I'd be today, Because
absolutely.
growing up was really
Mm.
tough. And I think also my mum influenced a lot of that as well, like her positivity and like, yeah, and her grace. I think maybe they just passed down, I think, to me as
That's
well.
that's a
Yeah.
beautiful
What
thing.
do you think? What's your opinion on that?
In regards to grace, well, grace is something that you develop over time, in my opinion. I think we're all born untainted from this world, but grace is something that you develop with life experience. You know, you go through so many situations where it either makes you or breaks you. And
Yeah.
grace is something that comes out of it when all is said and done, and you've pretty much like gone through hell and back, and then you've decided within yourself that you're gonna actually keep this as a part of yourself and run with it because this is something
Yeah.
that you've seen in others when you've made others feel good about themselves, you know, not wanting anything in return. You know, that grace of helping somebody, that grace of lifting somebody up or teaching somebody a lesson or inadvertently, you know, crossing paths with somebody who, you know, is pretty, well, my life experience that I've dealt with a lot of crazy, violent people, you know what I mean? And I've sort of like killed them with kindness type of thing,
Yeah.
you know? And that grace that comes out of me when I actually turn a negative into a positive, that's something that I learned how to do. I don't think I was born with it because yeah, I've lived a pretty crazy life, but I think it comes with experience.
Yeah. 100%. Yep. I agree on that. Obviously with me, like why I said that, yes, I felt like I was kind of born with that thing more so with, getting it from my mum. But it does come with experience. Like you choose to either, make the most of this and, get something out of it, or you choose to, just not care.
Now, don't get me wrong, you know, like, you know, being raised by a single mom, you know, she had so much class, so much grace,
Mm,
and you can't help but like have that rub off on you as well. But
mm-hmm.
I think that grace comes initially from your parents, of course, but you also learn that on your own too, especially
Yeah,
being
how
raised by a
how
single
you
parent.
embrace it.
Mhm.
It's, another thing.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah.
So, how do you protect your peace in a world that can often feel chaotic?
How do I protect my peace? First, I really look deep within
Mm,
myself. I really have to, again, take it, one at a time and step by step. Like, how did I get here, firstly? And
right.
just think about how grateful I am of the things that I have and my beautiful son that really looks up to me, and he's my peace. Also, sometimes he brings me a bit of chaos okay? But at the end of the day, he will be like, we were going to bed together, and he will look at me and be like, I love you, mom. Sorry I did that today. I'm like,
Mm,
oh, and that brings me a lot of peace. And that, like, yeah,
yeah.
there's always a meaning behind things, and things just God doesn't just throw at you all this bullshit. You know what I mean? For
And
nothing is always something that to improve, and you're gonna learn from it. So that brings me peace. That brings me peace. Some people are, yeah, not kind, but there is, there's some reason why, and you always just have to try and listen, and you just never know what comes out of it. That's how I
mm,
view life always, and people.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking about life, let's talk about greatness and future. So, when you look forward to the future, what kind of person are you becoming?
When I look forward to the future, I'm becoming more sort of evolved. Like I never been this comfortable being myself and um being outspoken like this. So it's just crazy. I'm becoming, well, I always say I would love to be more, inspiring to people. And I feel not to be, bragging, but I feel like I am doing
Yeah.
that. And I feel, people are listening now and really, like with my music, it's all about, reflecting and having clarity and healing and motivating,
So you feel like you're evolving
evolving.
as a person, as a woman, as a mother. You're evolving spiritually as well.
Yes, yes, 100%. And the future is, yeah, looking
Yeah.
good for me. I don't know what that future, but I really feel
I feel that too.
within
Don't worry.
myself that I
Mm.
think, yeah, it'll be good. It'll be great.
Well, like you were saying, hopefully you're inspiring people. You've inspired me. I mean,
Thank
that's why
you.
I wanted to get you on the podcast today, give you your well-deserved flowers.
Yeah, and that means a
Well,
lot, but each,
while you
each
can still
soul.
smell them. Mm.
Yeah, each soul at the time, I always say each one heart at the time, if I can, touch that in some any kind of way, and that means, a
You
lot that I
have,
can inspire.
especially you have, sis. Trust me, you've inspired me a lot, especially with your track "Milky Way." You know, just the way you sing that. I was actually I was listening to it on Spotify the other day, and I
Yeah,
was having some thoughts about doing, like a remix to that with the hip hop version,
that
and
would
it'd be
actually be
so
really
dope.
cool. Yeah. So when you listen to Milky Way, what kind of like headspace were you at? Where did it take you? I'm really curious to
It
know.
took me to the Milky Way, to be honest with you. It took me
It's funny because
to the
that was
younger
the
version.
intention. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
intention of the song. It was supposed to be fun
yeah.
and
I
it's
felt like
supposed
I
to
was
be
flying through
creative.
space and time,
Yeah.
and I felt young. I felt young again to my earlier days. And then I thought to myself, I got these feelings and thoughts that I haven't had for about 20 years. I felt so like
That's
free again,
awesome.
before,
Yeah.
life put its chains on me, and then I had to like become the chain
Yeah.
breaker of my family. Like I felt good again. I felt young again. I felt good. And it's
Yeah,
not often that I
that's
say that, because
wow,
Zeus
really.
the Prophet, yeah, Zeus the
Wow,
Prophet's
Zeus,
been
Zeus,
on.
Zeus. I took him
Uh,
away to the Milky Way. And that's the thing behind it, that song. I really wanted to just be neutral, but at the same time uplifting to like wherever space you want to go. It's basically, I wanted to write about space. Like
right,
the
absolutely.
lyrics was like,
No, but
you know,
the vibrational frequency. See, I look deeper into all this stuff. See, the vibrational frequency of your voice, the melodic sounds that come from how you sing,
mm,
is actually so beautiful that it took me to another dimension, another
yeah,
place where I saw myself young again. I was, you know, being my cool, calm, and collective self. But I
yeah.
was at a stage where you brought me back to a place where I found happiness again. So that's
Yeah,
what it did for
and that
me.
is a song is about simple as just being
You
happy.
know.
But I wrote it. It's actually funny because it's me just making up in my head, like when you meet someone and they bring in this magnetic, connection. It doesn't have to be like a spouse or anything. It could just be like
Right.
anyone that you meet, and that was the intention for the song to take you somewhere that you have never felt before. So, it's like, the bridge just goes, no gravity can hold us down, you
Mm.
know? So that's really cool to know. So,
Take me away to the
see,
Milky Way.
it's funny
Like
because once
it's
people hear
very
it, like,
catchy too.
get stuck in my head. Yeah, so it's funny because so I have my manager Jerry. He's in Sydney, so he does help a lot of with my music and pushing my music. So with Milky Way, we actually didn't really do much sort of pushing and stuff, but
Mm.
for some reason now Spotify has sent it to 80 countries. Well, yeah, worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah,
So I'm bumping that on my meditation playlist on Spotify. But
yeah,
I've recommended it to a few other of my homegirls as well, who are still in that space where everything's rush, 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 and family life, kids,
yeah,
work,
yeah.
responsibilities. So I've sent that to them, and their feedback is that it's helped them like calm the noise, the
Yeah, to
outside
take it back
noise.
to like neutral
Yeah.
state.
You know what I mean?
And
So,
then like yeah, before you start over again. So that
it's
is
really
really
helping.
great.
So one of them told me it's like, like I'm taking some mushroom gummies. You know, the one they sell legally online, where it calms down the outside
Oh my
noise.
God. No, I
There's,
never tried it, but that's really interesting.
yeah, it's like it's used for the medicinal purposes especially for people with ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. The
they said
song,
that
yeah.
song, that's what it did for them.
The song is very playful as well, you know. I was like, when I wrote, I was like picturing myself in my, sunnies and just like curving on people, right? And it was a bit funny, you know. And then there's the one line it says, "You're lurking around like a kitty cat. Can I take you home?" So it's really fun, you know.
Yeah. No, I got that energy, I got that vibe, it's on my playlist now. It's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I'm bumping that. Even my daughter was saying to me, and she goes, Dad, she goes, who's that? I go, that's Eema. She goes, I really love that song, So I
I'm
was like,
really glad. Yeah, I'm really
so
glad. And that's
yeah.
what I want. I want my music to also inspire the little ones as well.
Well, she's 11 now, going on 21, so
Wa-
she's pretty switched on for her age. She knows she
Yeah,
hears what's good. And, kids, especially, they're untainted from this world, so they kind of, their essence, their aura is powerful and it's pure.
exactly.
And when they hear something, when they see something, when they meet somebody new, they can
Yeah.
tell straight away about them. You know
Their
what I mean?
brain's like a sponge. So my son is 5, and
Wow.
sometimes I think like, oh, you're already talking like this. You've only been alive for like 5 years,
I know.
and you already have this, sass.
Yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
funny.
My son that's he's 8.
Yeah.
He's so switched on for his age as well. So what we did is a little side note as well for all you parents out there who think that classical music is nothing but just some old school frequencies. Matter of fact, we listened to classical music while we slept for 9 months for both pregnancies. And now studies have shown that if you listen to classical music while you sleep, chances are the baby will turn out to be a genius, and they've shown us signs of that for a long time, So
Wow, there
yeah,
you
but
go.
your track Milky Way, I definitely want to talk to you about making that a remix to a hip hop joint. I think I'd definitely do
That'd
it
be really
justice,
cool. Yeah. Look, I think like a lot of artists these days too. I think we kind of lost that like collaboration back then.
Yeah.
Collaboration, remix was such a big thing, but now I think because they make it hard in terms of the licensing and the copyright. So
Copyrights,
it's
yes.
very hard to do it. But if anyone out there is like want to collab, like just how I did the feature
Yeah.
with Serena. It's so beautiful of her to, invite me. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, definitely. And I think we as artists, new upcoming artists, we should really work together. And who
Absolutely.
knows what we'll create. So I'm always open to people, coming in if they have ideas.
Absolutely. So when I release this episode, just rest assured, I'll leave your details, your contact details, your manager's contact details as well. If anybody wants
Yeah.
to reach out to Eema for a collab, or you'll be more than welcome to.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
So what excites you most about the next chapter of your life?
My EP. So at Kaleidoscope, I sang a couple that is from my EP. So I sang My Idea. I'm really excited for that song. So My Idea is also fun, reflective, and it's kind of like, oops, I did that. But I'm like, shit, well, I've got to just, like make the most of it now. And, it's kind of like, you did something, it was a mistake, but it's all good. So that was my idea. So it's, I spoke about it. I say when you kind of meet someone and you think you have this whole thing, like they're amazing and everything. But at the end of the day, it was just in your head. I think a lot of people can really relate to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So each of the songs in the EP will have different, storyline. And, but a lot of them does highlight a lot of family and relationship issues. And that's why I'm excited I'm also hosting an event in May, which is my
Beautiful.
first ever headline show
Beautiful.
as an artist.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Tell
Thank
us
you.
some more about that.
So I think a month ago, I You know my song Misunderstood? I
Mm-hmm.
actually shoot a music video for it. So we'll be premiering this music video at this event, my first ever headline show. But I didn't want to just do it like, oh, come see me sing sort of thing. And I'm still trying to get used to, making
Nice.
myself like as like the center, the artist and stuff. So I said to Jerry, like, I really want to do something special. So there's more, to it just than just letting people like, come see me sing because of the EP and the songs and the stories. It'll be fundraising for an organization called the Council of Single Mothers and Their Children in honor of Prevention of Family and Domestic Violence Month in May. Yeah, it is
Beautiful.
it's very special. And I think it's really important that we need to raise this awareness on, stopping and preventing.
I wanted to ask you, what kind of impact would you like to have on the world first?
What kind of impact? On the world, what kind of impact? Want to say the impact I like is just to believe in yourself and find your voice and have a goal or a mission. What is your goal in life as the person you are? For me, is to help people and to connect with people. Yeah, I think that's definitely
I think
the
it's
impact
because
that I want. And I want people to see me and to listen me like she's something very relatable, and her voice is honest. Her voice is vulnerable and just, you know, just she's just being her true self. And that's how I want to, have impact on people, to just be their true self and help people if you can in some capacity, how you can, have that impact and do it when you can.
that's beautiful. That's part of the reason why I set up the Zeus podcast this way, is
Yeah.
because in order to help people on a different level, I wanted to add value to the world and
Yeah.
get guests on to share their stories
Stories. Yeah.
in order to pick up value from that, so they can learn something from that, they can grow and mature, spiritually mature from that as well. Not wanting anything in return, but just to tell their story and just to help them shine and to give them their flowers while they can still smell them. So do you think greatness is something we achieve or something we grow into?
For me personally, it's something you grow into. Greatness can be any form. Like you can achieve anything you want to if you put your head to. That's what I think. But it's really, if you keep working at it, if you keep, really love what you do, and it just comes and you keep growing into that. And that's how I feel the greatness is like. It's not, anything is achievable, you know? You want to do
Absolutely.
something tomorrow, just you have to get up and you have to do it. It's achievable. But more, greater things is that when you keep working on it and keep pursuing it. And I really learned that the hard way, because I stopped singing for a long time. I stopped singing for over a decade, and I just started singing probably about
Right.
August last year. And look where I am now and talking to you, and it's just like, how did I get here? This is great. This is great. It's just like,
God
I
bless
kind
you.
of just grown,
God bless
into it
you.
and grow every day.
It's because you have a beautiful voice, a beautiful heart, and a beautiful
Thank
soul.
you.
That's why you're here, and that's why I'm honored to have you here. But if somebody listening
Honored.
right now feels lost or uncertain about their own path, what advice would you give them?
It says relating to that song I sang at Kaleidoscope. It's Find Myself, right? So the first line is like, my heart is aching, and but I've been here before. So whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel like you can't get out, just know that you actually been in that moment
Of
before. It's
course.
not the first time you've been in that moment. I can assure you, if you're like 20-year-old, or have already been in that moment before, but maybe your brain wasn't developed enough to experience it fully, but still, even in any capacity, you have been there before. So know that y- you will come out of it tomorrow and then you'll laugh about it like, oh, it wasn't that bad, you know?
Right.
Or it could be, yeah, it could be something look bad and maybe you haven't been there before, but that feeling is sort of a bit the same. That
Right.
sadness and that loneliness is still a little bit the same. So you can really recognize that and use it to, you know, get out and be okay. It's okay not to be okay for a while, but if you have that mentality that you will, get out of that,
Of
um,
course.
and know that you have support, even
Yeah,
if
exactly.
even if
Exactly.
it's not your people in your circle, you can
Mm.
always reach out to, I don't know, some influencer on Instagram or something,
You know
like a
what I mean?
motivational speaker.
Just
Go
reach
to their
out to
page.
Eema. You got any problems? Just reach out to Zeus the Prophet or reach out to Eema.
Yeah,
You know what I
if you
mean?
just,
Well,
yeah,
you
book it in, book it in
ask us your
time.
questions, and I'll be more than
Exactly.
happy to
That's what I
answer
mean.
them.
And I always say on my Instagram sometimes, like for example, just a Christmas greeting, like Merry Christmas. But if anyone feels lonely at this time, you can DM me. Like I say things like that.
Right.
And yeah, you can always reach out to these people and yeah, 100% they would definitely, say
Yeah,
something. If you don't feel
absolutely.
comfortable talking to your circle, there's always
Exactly.
somebody there. So that's how I feel in terms of, yeah, whenever I get to that really bad state of mind, that I just know that I have been here before and it feels very similar. I
Mm.
don't know how bad it is right now, but if it feels similar and I've done it, and then I can sort of, all right, what's next sort of thing. Yeah.
Now, here's a few quick ones, You're a coffee or tea person?
Coffee,
City energy or nature energy?
nature, country.
Nice. Deep conversations or quiet reflection?
We already know this deep conversation.
Sometimes, I love quiet reflection too, because it's at the times when I can actually self-reflect. Even my wife,
Yes.
even my wife picks up on this. She goes, "Yeah, you've evolved so much spiritually the last
Yeah.
5 years that you can actually self-reflect on the fly now while you're doing something, or saying something that you shouldn't." Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all make
Yeah.
mistakes and stuff, but I can actually reflect on the fly,
Yeah.
so that's made it a lot easier for me. And that comes through quiet reflection sometimes. But
Oh yeah, I do agree. Now that you're saying that, I do that, both.
yeah,
So yeah, can relate
so,
to both definitely.
music while studying or silence? So,
These, I'm one of those who studies the night before and then just stay up. Yeah, definitely silent, just like silent and like dark. It has to be dark as well. So like my focus is only like on the script.
right, right. The one place in the world you'd love to visit.
Egypt.
Wow, that's pretty profound. And why?
I'm always, just love, like the Cleopatra and then the history behind
Absolutely.
the pyramid and
You know,
the scripture and, this is
the
really cool.
hieroglyphs, yeah. And so I can't show you right now, but I've got the Eye of Horus right here that's tatted on my
Oh,
arm. But it would definitely I'll reach out to Labzi. Labzi is Egyptian, and we
yeah, I have actually
must,
spoken to Labzi. He went to
is
Egypt just recently. He
yeah,
said,
he did.
yeah, yeah,
He
so
did.
jealous. Definitely would love
No,
to go
we'll
one day.
definitely, try to make something happen for you. I've done
Yeah,
so much, research in my younger years about Egypt that I love it fully as well.
yeah,
I used to have these series of books that I used to read called there was a set of 5 books called Ramses the
yeah.
Second, by an author named Christian Jacques, and took me into a place where, it described Egypt perfectly in how they live,
Wow.
how they talk to each other, how they you walk, how
Their way of
the journey
life.
of Pharaoh Ramses II
That's awesome.
from birth to when, like Moses parted the Red Seas type thing, so it was just a monumental awakening for me how beautiful Egypt was. And it's one of the places that I definitely got to visit soon
Yeah,
myself.
me too. Me
So
too.
we're
This
gonna
is
get on to we're
beautiful.
gonna talk to Labs here about this.
Yeah. Hello, shout out, Labsy.
Shout out to my brother Labsy. Real Talk with Labsy. Check it out on all social medias as well. And especially Real Wisdom Wednesdays with the brother Jamie. So, one word that describes the energy you're stepping into this year.
Energy that I'm stepping to. Gosh, one word. This is tough.
Mm,
Magnetic.
nice.
Yeah,
I
definitely
love that.
magnetic. Yeah. Something really pulling, and something will get stuck in that
Mm,
moment. And yeah, just want to really
wow.
attract and attract good audience and listeners. And yeah,
Mm.
just want to,
Yeah,
give
I would
them
say
moments.
you're a very magnetic person. What I mean,
Well,
it's because
thank
of your
you.
aura and your spirit is wonderful. I would say that you're a light worker. Somebody
Mm.
very special who's come to help the human race in any which way you can, and you do it through your music. Hopefully, your motivational talks very soon in the near future because I see you there as well. Then let's talk. About your upcoming EP, which touches on relationships and family issues.
Mhm.
What made you decide to speak openly about these experiences through music?
It's funny because I didn't even decide anything. Actually,
Mm,
just when I came out, I'm divorced, so I've been separated with my ex-husband for about 2.5 years. And ever since then, I just started writing a lot and just wrote what I feel. And even music wise,
mm,
there's no genre. Like I just write what I feel. You know, I'm
right,
not fit into any boxes. When I
right.
collecting all of my songs together, I was like, wow, they do really sort of, relate together and it tells different story. And it's really is
Mm.
about healing. It's a very I think the EP is gonna be quite, taking you that journey of healing and becoming like, free almost and feeling okay with it all. Yeah.
Do you think society still struggles to talk honestly about the darker sides of relationships?
Yes. 100%. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the time when you get into a relationship, you're really trying to adapt and
Mm,
adjust. And sometimes, yes, you can compromise, but when you do it too much, you kind of just lose yourself a bit in that
mm,
relationship. And that's why, like, I was in the relationship where it was a bit controlling and,
mm.
there's so many things expected of me. And I wouldn't say names or anything. It's just there's one
Awesome.
relationship where I'm just expected to, to be like women should be cooking and cleaning,
Mm,
but then on top of that, it's hard because now woman also has to work. We have to, both
mm.
partners have to work to be able to afford,
Yeah,
living now.
exactly. I mean
So
that old
yeah,
mentality is a load of shit. I tell
yeah,
every real man listening, if you're of that mind state, you're gonna have a really hard time keeping a relationship. So one thing I like to do as
yeah.
well, and my wife knows this, is because I work outside and I come home and then my real work starts. So I like
Mm,
to actually get into it straight away when I'm at home. I'll ask my wife, because I know she's tired from the kids, and I know that women go through things that men don't go through. I
yeah.
like to help around the house, ask my wife, like, would you like this done? Is there anything I can do to help here? How can I help you relax?
Yeah, and that's where it comes is communication. You just asking the right question and that leads you to, doing things together and that's partnership where a lot
Mm.
of like, I don't know, well, some men, I want traditional women. Men that are no longer traditional.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. No, they want the
how
best
would
sides
we
of
expect?
a traditional woman. They don't really know
Yeah.
what a traditional woman is.
I was like, but you're not being a traditional, man. What happens to wooing, sweeping us off our feet and, making
Right.
us feel wanted and feel loved. And yeah,
Exactly, and
so
appreciated and respected. Most importantly, what I found through my marriage is that, like, there has to be mutual respect for each other. You got to
100%.
be able to look outside yourself and see that it's not
Mm.
about just you. You two together working,
And
as one.
yeah, and I think, yeah, and then what comes into it is that you respect one another. And if
Mm,
you have to respect one another, you just can't do anything wrong, really. You have to
mm,
respect, you will be willing to communicate and you will be willing
mm.
to work it out through anything, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it becomes more of a struggle when you have kids because then when the shit hits the fan and then you're under the pressure, that's when you're tested to the utmost. So that's when you'll know
Yeah.
the real strength within you and who you are as a
Sure.
person, who you are as a man,
Yeah.
is when that happens. So I
Yeah.
think what you just said is very, very important. Like also communication is key to everything.
And also finding out, in the relationship as well, and not just, partner relationship, in like families as well, finding
Mm,
out what each other's, what you're passionate about as well. If
absolutely.
you're invested in, finding out, even if you're not into whatever they're passionate about, if you just asking and it's like, whoa, you care about me,
Makes the world of a
Yeah.
difference, of
Yeah, like you
course.
want to know. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing with
So,
my
mm,
EP. There's a lot of it's
right.
very conversational, like the lyrics. Yeah.
Mm,
It's not so complicated. I'm not really like a poetic writer, so I just
mm,
write very like it's not directly into specific topic, but it's kind of just like an open conversation and
right.
just
Open
being
dialogue.
honest. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing.
Mm.
Speaking about being honest, what message do you hope women, especially young women, hear when they listen to your music?
The message, I think you really, if you're listening to like songs, like especially listening to my songs,
Yeah.
it'll be really cool for you to just be a little bit more curious behind why I write, these things and the lyrics, like the meaning behind the lyrics.
Mm,
And a lot
right.
of people listen to songs and it's because how the sound or the beat makes you feel.
Mm,
It's like, oh yeah, I'm dancing to this, dancing, but like you're not really listening to the lyrics or
the
anything. You just
lyrics,
like it
right.
how it makes you feel. So I think first,
Mm,
yeah, you listen to a song, it makes you feel good. And then second, having the curiosity to actually appreciate who
mm.
creates the music.
And
So
what the
because we
lyrics
are
say,
actually,
right,
yeah, and we're actually the human, like behind this music. So,
right.
wouldn't you want to get to know, why, how I wrote it, like the process of this
Mm,
making of the music, not just you listening at the end of it. But it would be really cool if you have spent a little bit extra time to actually look up the artist itself and really find out, see if you can find, the lyrics. And I'm like, that's what she actually said. I never thought,
right.
she actually meant it that way. It's really interesting because I think in my head it was she's saying about this, but it's actually not. So it's very playful when it's
Mm.
very creative.
So, what kind of example do you hope to set for your son through your journey?
For my son is it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling,
Mm.
and just there's nothing that we, can't talk about. I always tell my son, his name is Koa. So
Koa?
Koa means warrior. So,
Ah,
and then I said to him, yeah, you can always tell mommy anything you feel. It doesn't matter if it feels bad or it
mm,
feels you can't talk about it and you get really angry. You can tell me anything and whenever you're ready. Yeah, I always tell him that it's endless what you can talk about, in this world. So
absolutely. I think that's
yeah,
it's very important for
yeah.
parents out there as well to realize that,
Yeah, I
that
want to have that
mm,
relationship with my son where he's able to talk to me and ask me for advice and not be so pressured to keep it together like how I was as a child, in
mm,
having to get everything swept under the rug or,
ignored
being,
or belittled or, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you're
yeah.
pretty much, non existent until you're empowered to break free and then they see who the real lioness or lion is.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Nah,
yeah,
that's
it's
that's that's
really
wonderful. That's a beautiful
important.
message for all mothers or for all parents out there, is to really listen to your child. Take some time. That's what I do for my kids too. So, like every night I ask them, like, not just how was your day, what was good about your day? What worried you today? Like
Mm.
And then they open up and they tell me and I listen, we
Yeah.
have this
Yeah.
time where, like it's important for them to feel like they could tell you anything and not be judged or not be,
Yes. Like
look,
you're the safe space,
right,
and
and
yeah.
that's
And
important for
then
all parents.
yeah, and then if you can find that safe space with your child as well, because this little person is going to grow up,
Right.
one day, and if they be your safe space, like, it's amazing if you can have that relationship and
Absolutely,
the
and
bond,
that's what I love
you
about being
know?
a parent the most is that they
Yeah,
can come to me and tell daddy what's wrong,
yeah,
or tell daddy what's right, what was good about the day, what made them happy, what made them
mm,
sad, whatever, whatever it is. That's what we're here for. I think
yeah,
that's a good message for all parents out there is to spend time with your children, find out what's going on
mm,
in their head, in their heart, because they are you. They're the next generation. They're
the next
the
generation,
they're the 2.0 version of you. So why
correct,
wouldn't you want to find out, well, what's going on in here and in here?
in them,
Because
yeah,
they're the next leaders of our country. They're the next
because
whatever,
yeah,
you
because
know?
the brain is not developed enough. It's so small, so everything can be very overwhelming. For
Mm,
example, I made him cry. I think it was probably a couple of weeks back because he's very into math. So we do math
mm,
before bed. So ask me random questions like what's 100 plus 100, some random numbers. So he kept going, and then I just answered really quickly, and then he's like started crying. It's like, why are you upset? He's like, how do you do that? In how do you answer it? So okay, I'm like,
mm.
mommy's brain is very big, and I have to. And he's like, but I can't do this, and I'm like, it's okay, you will one day.
Mm.
And yeah, because they're just wanting to know
Yeah,
everything,
they're like
and
a
it's
sponge at that age, especially your son
yeah,
being 5, you know what I mean? Like they're like a sponge. They absorb everything around them.
yeah. So I just have to say to him like, look, you're only 5 years old, so it's always good to remember, remind them they're only little and there's so much they're gonna learn. So
Right, to take their time, like not to
take their
rush it as
time. That's
well.
why just talking with them every
Mm.
day is just beautiful, and want to
Mm.
have to be that person, safe space for him. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think
Mm.
creating that space for your child, is really beneficial to you, like for those who are
Yeah.
listening who are parents, it's beneficial to you for you to make them feel safe around you as well because they're going to take what you teach them and how you behave, how you treat your partner, everything that
Mhm.
you do into their adult life. So
Yeah.
none of us are perfect, we all make
Yeah.
mistakes, of course, but it's all about like what you show them is what they're going to show their future
Yeah,
partners.
100%. And you got to have, yeah, good like
Mm.
balance, whereas some parents I see like, oh, everything is like perfect, everything's so nice and dandy. But the reality is not, I sometimes, maybe once a month, where I get really overwhelmed being a single mom, having to do everything. And then he would say something mean. And
Mm.
I just cry in front of him,
Mm.
like, and I didn't hide it. Like, I don't hide it. And he'll be like, why are you sad, mommy? I said, it's okay. I feel sad sometimes. I'm really
Mm.
tired,
You know,
like
of
you're not
course.
perfect.
But it's up
Yeah.
to us to explain to them that
Mm.
these are just
Why are you
emotions.
feeling a certain way?
Emotions come and emotions go.
Yeah.
Don't let them linger. Don't let them stay there. You can feel sad. You can feel angry. You can feel whatever you want to feel. You're human. But don't
Mm.
let that linger. Don't let that stay. Let it come and let it go.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
know? So I did want to touch upon what we spoke about before in regards to domestic violence awareness.
Yes. Yes.
So you're involved in a charity project for domestic violence awareness. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Why is this cause so important to you personally?
So let's talk about like, my mom was involved in abusive partner. So when
Mm-hmm.
we came to Australia, when we migrated to Australia, like her partner at the time, yeah, was very abusive. So we were under protection of domestic violence for, yes, couple of years actually, because you know what they say, like it's not as easy as leaving an
Mm-hmm.
abusive relationship. And
Exactly.
because at the time as well, because mom really wanted to bring us here, so that person would say to her, like, okay, well, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to report you and say the relationship is not real and you would get deported. So for years, mum stayed because she wanted us to, have a life in Australia. And she just thought that was, normal, and she was going to do whatever it takes to stay. And that's mean being abused. But now the law is better. Like there's a protection for that if anyone, is migrated. But back then it was, very hard. And so we were under, protection and domestic violence for some years. And then eventually that all ended because I said to mum that it got really bad that I said, it's either, you get out of it before, before he bloody kills you, or you kill him and you'll go to jail. And what are you going to do with us?
And other
So it got
situations are
to the
good.
point. Yeah. So then mum finally okay, shit, this is serious now. And so there was one time I said, well, you have to do something. Otherwise we will take ourselves to like child protection, and get protected that way. Yeah, it was really intense and it was really sad. But eventually, thankfully, mum got out of that. Mum is, I did
Thank
tell mum
God.
that I'll be talking about these things, and she said that's okay. Like she's moved on from it. Bless her.
Bless her
Yeah.
heart.
But the thing is, what comes out of that, you know how people deal with trauma in different ways. People either go to alcohol, and with her, like it was, there was a bit of gambling issues. It's so complicated. It's not just one thing. There's always another thing and another thing.
Absolutely.
So everything is sort of like related. You know what I mean? So moving away from that, I grew up. I had to grow up really quickly. Had to protect my brother, and I had to try as best I could to be there for mum. Then I started building my own life and having a family. And and then after my divorce, I did start, to try dating, and then I met someone who was controlling, and I didn't really think much of that at the
And you were
time.
saying, right.
Yeah, until I was like, okay, it is actually not normal. So I want to talk about at this event about coercive control, because it doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to, be anything. But a lot of women, I think, can probably relate that, they didn't know that, there were signs there, but they didn't know what it was. So I want to be able to raise, awareness in this, like topic. Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing that you're doing,
Mm.
Can you tell us a bit more about the charity?
So the charity, yeah. So the charity organization that I chose to fundraise is the Council of Single
Single
Mother
mothers
and their children.
and their children, right?
Yeah. So when I was being displaced, they supported me. So they helped me, and they have wonderful resources. They could also refer their services. Yeah. So I will be hosting my first headline show, fundraising for them, and there will be a guest speaker, which is the CEO, Jenny, from the Council of Single Mothers and Their Children. She'll be speaking about their wonderful organization and what they do. And I also wanted to promote support like 1-800-RESPECT. So I did
Okay,
speak as well
beautiful.
with somebody from there, because this is going to be a sensitive event, right? So we
Of
want to be able
course.
to have trauma informed and support that are available for anyone who
That's
has been
beautiful.
impacted. Yeah.
That's beautiful. 1-800
Yeah.
respect. I like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what's that about? That phone number that you call, what are people gonna
Yeah. So you can
expect?
call them, you can web chat, if you're ever feeling like you're experiencing domestic violence or in some way or form, then you could always contact them and ask for advice, and they could also refer you as well. They're available like, 24/7 that you
Is
can
that
reach
for
out.
men and women, or just women
Yes,
exclusively?
anyone. Yeah, anyone
Okay, because
is,
there's a
yeah.
lot. There's like men can be very abusive, but also there's a lot of women out there can be very abusive to their men as
Yeah,
well. So
that's
that's why I
why.
wanted to ask.
It's for anyone, and that's why for the event, even though I am sort of fundraising and raising awareness for single mom, because a lot of single moms become single mom because of they have experienced
Domestic
domestic violence.
violence, of course.
But another topic I want to talk about, like I said, coercive control, because So the law has passed in New South Wales that it has become a standalone crime, but not in Victoria. I think this law is very important to pretty much before you get any like the crimes that ends up being physical and violent, it always starts with these little things at the start, but these cannot be charged at the moment in Victoria. So, if people are more aware on how to basically recognize all the signs, yeah, it doesn't apply to just women and men as well. If woman is, can be controlling and can be abusive,
Yeah.
is showing signs of coercive control, and that would be
Especially
the
when
start.
there's kids involved. I
Same.
know a few of my friends who have kids, and the men are struggling just as much as anybody else because their women are controlling. So I understand how it affects both men
Yeah.
and women at this point. So
So
I think that's a great thing. 1-800
yeah.
respect.
So
Like I'm definitely gonna
yeah, you can call one of your
help you
respect. You
support
can
that as well. Mm.
ask for anything. So what happens is when you contact them, they can act as someone who adding in all your reports and your records. And if that's something you have to take on board to like moving on to legal stuff, then you can actually obviously pull up your records that you've been, recording, because that's one of the most important thing when you do decide to basically like take it legal matter into legal, you have to have sufficient enough records. So women is basically being advised, or anybody is being advised to journal everything. And how, because sometimes when you're in that state of mind, like you don't want to think about anything, but just to make it easier in terms of just contact them, hey, like this happened today, blah 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 blah, and then they'll be like, okay, well, keep in your record, things like that. It just makes it
And
easier.
and for
Yeah.
for people who don't know this, if they do call this number, it's anonymous, of course.
Yes, you can choose to be anonymous, or you
Because
can
a lot of
choose
people, they're
to
very like scared of their partners.
scared. Yeah.
I know some people that are like scared of their boyfriends or scared of their
Yeah.
husbands, and same goes with some of the other people that I know. They're scared of their wives or girlfriends. That because
Yeah.
most people, when they do get controlling, do get narcissistic, they can get very
Yeah.
violent.
100%. So that's why recognizing the early signs before they get violent,
Mm,
yeah, so is really important thing. And like I said, it's for everybody. And with 1-800 respect, so they will tell you like, is it safe to like contact you through this number or send you, a message, or there's a big button on the web chat as well, portal chat. There's like to exit like safely if you feel like
yeah.
you're being watched or things like that as well. So I really just want to talk about how do we help, people access this, be that endangering themselves.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing,
Mm,
and
mm.
then when people do call that number, what results can they expect? How do they get people out of that violent situation?
So they would refer, yeah. So depending what you need, if you need, for example, to get out of your home like safely, and they'll tell you the steps, and then they will refer you to whichever organization that you need to contact. For example, one of them is Orange Door. They're very important people as well, and they take
Okay.
matter really seriously because they also work with the police as well, together as well. There are a lot of things out there.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, I find the domestic violence disgusting, to be honest with you. Anybody who's, physically or emotionally or mentally, abusing their partners, man or woman, I find you
Mm,
pretty horrible, pretty awful. You
yeah.
need to self-reflect on the decisions you're making, the shit that you're creating for your partner. Well, it's like you got to pull your head in, pull up a bit, Let's realize that you're affecting another life here too. And if there's kids involved, you're
And that's the
affecting
thing.
multiple
We
lives.
want to protect the children.
Mm.
Firstly, the children are always the ones that, really suffer. And that's what happens. We have to break the cycles because a lot
Mm.
of these abuses also come from a broken,
It's,
family who's also
uh,
been, yeah, impacted
like
of the same cause, but don't, learn or try to yeah, better. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in, bad in as well.
Absolutely. A lot of it
Yes.
comes down to generational trauma as well. It's like
Yeah,
they've seen their parents hitting each other, yelling at each other, screaming at each
and
other.
it's normal.
It's normal for them. Yeah, it should be common sense by now. But I suppose because most people, they have a reptilian brain. It's like when you're in a
Mm.
situation, you go fight or flight. You don't know how to calm your nerves down. You don't know how to count to 10, to breathe. There's techniques. Like I've been battled with anger for a lot of my life. Like there's ways and means for you to overcome that, to get out of that. Like I was
Mm.
raised by the streets pretty much. So I had a lot of anger issues and I've learned to deal with them just by self-reflecting, asking yourself, I mean, is this the person that I want my kids to become? And that will give you the answer of whether you should continue on that path or not.
And that's the
Excuse me.
thing, is not just a single thing, because there'll be alcohol involved. They're not
Mm,
having the mental clarity. So yeah, there's multiple issues and that comes with it. That's why we obviously, unfortunately, this is the world we live in, and it's just every little things
right.
we can do for the community, and raising this type of awareness is very important, that
Mhm.
we can
Mhm.
change, lives and protect our children.
Of course, it's so important, so monumental, and I appreciate you sharing that as well.
Thank you.
But looking back at your journey so far, onto a positive note, what are you most proud of?
Most proud of
Apart from your
myself.
son.
Look, I am proud of the mother I am, because I never thought, you know, I'd be this type of mother. Because it's funny, when you're
Mm.
young, you wanted to be like, there's a there's an idea in your head. I'm like, oh, you're
Mm.
gonna be this mother, you're gonna be this wife,
Right.
and now I just look at myself. I'm like, I'm this mother. I'm this modern woman who gets to work full time, who gets to raise a child, and being able to have a really cool and fun relationship, and being able to
Mm.
pursue my music and really, talk about that too. So I'm this, yeah, modern fun mom, and I'm so proud of, yeah, where I've become. Yeah.
So when you're not making music, how do you recharge?
How do I recharge?
Yeah.
I try to watch, gosh, it's a luxury for me to watch TV.
Hmm.
So I love documentaries. I watch like random crap. One of like random crap I love watching is the one that gives me like adrenaline like rush. For example, I was watching, what is it called? It's a show called Deeper. It's about how,
Okay.
how they can use, how they dive is really deep, like cave, and it was just like a bit of a challenge, and just the preparation just for this dive, just to look at a black hole, like there's nothing in there, that really
Mhm.
gets me. And I'm just like, well, it's interesting what the humans can do, like the
Absolutely.
curiosity where it gets to them. And this is one guy who was climbing the building without any gear. I
Yes.
don't know if you've
Yeah. I
seen
think
that
they
one.
call it. Yeah. They call him Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah, I'm just like watching, and my hands get sweaty and my feet get sweaty. I'm just like, yeah. So those things are really how I kind of, recharge. I think
Mm.
of, outside my music, there's other amazing people with amazing like will and,
Hmm.
talent, or yeah. So that's how,
That's a beautiful thing. I love
yeah,
watching
because
documentaries
we can't go
myself.
on holiday every
You
day.
know, you learn a lot from watching documentaries too. You know,
You do.
so much information out there. I like watching the wildlife documentaries and the one you were talking about,
Yeah.
the diving in caves and deep diving
Deeper.
as well.
Mm.
Those men and women who actually put their life on the line. They hold their breath for about 5 minutes and then they go down, into the
Yeah.
sea, like
Yeah.
to try to break world records
It's
and
just
that's crazy,
crazy. It's amazing what the humans really can do to push, boundaries. And that's always
Yeah.
intriguing for me. Yeah. So that'll be like my kind of, when I'm not doing music or mum life, I kind of just try and sit and watch documentaries.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice. Nice. Beautiful. Um, One artist you would love to collaborate with in the future?
Oh, that is so hard.
I had
So
to ask, you know.
many. At
Of
the
course.
moment, I'm really loving Nika.
Okay.
She's yeah, she really mixes, I don't know, something sexy about like when they,
Mm.
French, like French and like music when they sing in another
Yeah.
language.
Comment ça
Yeah.
va? Ça va bien?
Yeah, I have no idea what you just said.
Hey, how are you? You know, yeah.
Yeah, so her, and then there's another artist called My Style, I would say is very similar to Griff. She's a Jamaican Chinese, I think. Asian, and I just love her lyrics. And yeah, a lot of the, like for example, my EP, a lot of the music you'll hear is a bit experimental. So there's a lot of like pop synth. Like I love electric guitars.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
so
dope,
if
yeah.
gosh, it'll be a dream to collab with these women. Very
Mm.
inspirational woman.
Well, you never know. She might be watching the podcast when this airs, and she might be definitely feeling your vibe as I have. Like your spirit, your aura, as I said earlier on, is pretty
Thank you.
magnificent. It's wonderful. Yeah, and it's been such a treat. Such a joy talking to you tonight. It's been
Thank you. You
wonderful.
too, Zeus. Thank you.
If someone was listening to you tonight and is going through a difficult relationship or struggling as a single parent, what message would you want to give them?
There is always hope. There's always resources out there, although it can almost feel like it's impossible or you feel like you're trapped. Um, but even if you find, a way, especially if you have children, so important that you try and really seek, that help to get advice. Um, and you will get out of it. Somebody will help you get out of it. There's always away and you're not alone. Yeah. There's so many of us going through or been there, through it. So I know it's easier to stay. I know it's harder to leave, but once you're on the other side, you'll be so grateful on how, strong you are that you never thought. That's why my song Misunderstood is really around that topic is, you really misunderstood how strong, you actually are. So, the chorus is goes, you misunderstood me when I said, I loved you endlessly because yes, you did love this person endlessly. You really wanted to. But if they didn't, then that person really misunderstood you because you're so capable and you're more than just, that. Yeah. So that's my message.
God bless you. Eema, thank you so much for sharing your story tonight and your
Thank you
perspective.
so much. I appreciate it.
So conversations like this remind us that life is not simply about achievements. It's the person that we become through the journey. Grace teaches us humility. Growth teaches us resilience.
Correct.
And greatness emerges when we learn to align our character with our purpose. To everyone watching tonight or listening, remember that greatness rarely happens overnight. It grows slowly through faith, through discipline, reflection, and courage. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who values meaningful conversations and personal growth. This episode is proudly presented and sponsored by iQuality Online, a platform built on self-improvement, discipline, faith, and intentional living. Because greatness begins with the choices we make every day. This has been episode 13, Grace, Growth, and Greatness, the Eema story. I'm your
Thank
host,
you.
Zeus the Prophet, and not even the force of Mother Nature can stop it, but I can. So to everyone listening tonight, thank you so much for joining us for this journey. Thank you so much to Eema and her
Thank
time.
you so much. And thank you for
God,
everyone for listening.
God bless you and your family. And sis,
You too.
your
Liz.
future is so bright.
Just after everybody. And yeah, thank you. Really appreciate the time and just always enjoy every moment because life is short.
Your future is bright, my dear.
Thank you. Look forward to it. And I'll definitely be around. We'll see you guys around.
God bless you. Good night.